Well, hello fans and welcome back. It's been a while, but today we're having the biggest battle I've ever run. It's in the Epal Valley, and I've got every piece I own on the table. In fact, there's so many pieces that half of them are still off in reserve. Napoleon's here, and so is Wellington. So, let the battle begin. Nine o'clock in the morning and the French Grand Batteries open. The centre, being held by the British, is too strong for Napoleon to attack. So he will look for a weakness in either the left or right flank created by his artillery so that he can send his infantry forward without them being massacred. The British, of course, respond with their artillery, and a deafening roar settles over the battlefield. Well, after half an hour of vicious artillery dueling, the French have annihilated the Prussian artillery. And so that is obviously where the attack will be ordered in. The Austrians have not fared all that well, but are still holding, and the British centre and the French centre are holding as well. The French have lost sub-artillery, but obviously the Prussian flank is the one that's going to receive the attack. What you can see here is the French moving up to attack the Prussians, who they perceive to have been weakened by their barrage of heavy artillery. But what you can't see, and what they can't see, is the British are sending over all of their horse artillery to support the Prussians, and they're just starting to arrive on the field now. Right, the French are getting ready to attack the Prussians. They're just taking a while to get themselves sorted out here. But while that's been happening, down on this other flank, the French have gone into action against the Austrians, and there's been quite a bit of fighting going on. The French have moved into that farmhouse there, or not a farmhouse, it's more a hotel, and the yards for the horses, and they've been firing at the British exposed across the other side of the creek. The horse guns have got up on the hill and can now fire down along the Austrian lines, which will cause quite a bit of casualties there. So yeah, they're more committed to the attack on this side than they are on the other. The French battalions have decimated two Prussian battalions which have fled, but in leaving they exposed the British horse guns, which had moved up behind them, and the horse guns let loose a devastating fire on the French battalions. The battle's been raging all morning. It's hot, all the troops are exhausted. You can see the horse guns there have been taking a terrible toll of the French columns or battalions as they come forward in column, but their troops, their gunners have been getting killed as well, and the decision has to be whether or not to take the horse guns back to protect them, save them, or to keep firing as there's lots of French coming. Now down the other end, the same thing's been happening. Lots of firing, columns and battalions disappearing, but they just keep bringing the reserves forward. It's a long ways to go yet, and where are all the cavalry while this is happening? The battle's been raging and the infantry battalions have been cut down quite substantially, but notice the French are moving up a huge contingent of cavalry. I think they're about to try and break the Prussians. What's happening down the other end of the table? Everything seems to be holding in the centre. There's bits of artillery pieces getting blown up everywhere, so the artillery fire is slowing down. The French are moving across the creek, which by the way is not very deep at all and very affordable. In fact, it's only about ankle deep. And the Austrians are moving up their last reserves, their grenadier battalions. The cavalry have swung into action and crossed the creek. They've ridden down 2 complete regiments of Prussian line, but the Prussians have brought up their reserve of cavalry to hit the lancers. Following the lancers are the dragoons and the hussars. On the Prussian side, they've got their guard cavalry, their dragoons and their lancers. I think this is going to be the deciding point on this flank. Meanwhile, on the Austrian flank, they're not doing much better. You can see there's still lots of French battalions arriving, and the Austrians have virtually used up all of their infantry. They're now bringing their cavalry forward to try and stem the tide, and the British have sent their rocket troop forward to try and bolster the Austrians, but it's not looking good. Well, the battle's been long, hard, hot, but the Prussians have finally been swept from the field. The commander and a few of the hussars left are leaving the field, and their baggage train will be captured by the French, and so the British left flank falls. The British are still quite strong in the centre. In fact, nothing's happened here because the French can't come forward against all of these troops behind walls. So they've been hoping for the flanks to crumble. Now over on this flank, a charge has just got in from the Austrian lights, and they succeeded in knocking out the Irish troops but were repelled by the grenadiers. The rocket troop has been severely mauled by the fire from the lights. In fact, 2 of the units have been decimated, but the Austrians still have a lot of cavalry, and I don't think it's going to help them, but they'll have to try to stem this tide and hold this flank until night falls. Let's see if they can. Well, the battle's been hard fought, and the Austrian cavalry have been chased off the field. All that's left now are some grenadiers guarding the general, and they're about to face a regiment of French light cavalry coming across the river. They have a regiment of cuirassiers, but when they look across the river, they can see the French have 2 regiments, one of cuirassiers and one of carabineers. They cannot hold this position. The general orders a retreat to save what he can. This means now, obviously, that the British right flank has also dissolved away, leaving only the British in the centre. And so, with the departure of the Austrians, the battle generally just dies down. Everyone seems to be happy to stop fighting for the day. Night is coming on. They just want to have a good night's rest and a feed. But as they reposition themselves for the big attack tomorrow, that's the British right flank. There's the the French in the centre, and these are all the French on the British left flank. Tomorrow should be another bloody day. So as the sun rises on day 2 and the soldiers stir in their camps and start their campfires burning again to warm water for a cup of tea or soup, word comes around that the British during the night have slipped away. And you know, any French sentries on duty were probably, who heard them leaving, were probably glad that they were going. They'd had enough fighting for one day. But why did the British leave? As you can see, they've got a field there that's quite well fortified, a house, 2 fields either side. It's a defensible position. They had all the Scottish regiments in reserve, plus their allied divisions that were there with them, and cavalry further back. But what they didn't have was artillery. And the French have 2 howitzers, 2 heavies and 2 horse guns. And if they apply that grand battery, they can smash any position here given time. So the British commander, Wellington, has decided to slip away quietly during the night so that he can fight another day on more favourable terms. And that ends the battle. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed this game. It's the biggest Tricolor game that's been put on, and it's taken me quite a while to actually do this. So if you liked it, please subscribe. I've got about 30 other videos up on YouTube so that you can look at, and who knows what we'll do next. All right, thanks guys, bye bye.